Today, oh, damn. Sorry. Today I want to talk about Palantir. Um, so Palantir is a tech company. I'm actually, let's see, what is Palantir? I'm just gonna look it up so I can read it right offline. So Palantir is a company that empowers organizations to effectively integrate their data decisions and operations. I actually don't know. They're like a data fusion platform. Um, yeah, I couldn't. I'd have to look into it more to explain like exactly how the technology works. And I was actually going to talk about this when I was going to make more content about tech. Maybe I will do that if I have like just an enormous amount of free time in the future. But there are some companies that sell technology to other companies, like Microsoft does this, which is another reason like people were talking for a minute. There was like this acronym that was going around about the hottest tech companies, and it didn't include Microsoft. I think it was called like Gasp or something. It was like Google, Apple, Netflix, and something else. I can't remember. There was like the top four or something, and it was maybe Twitter. I can't remember, but it didn't include Microsoft in the list, and I think that it's because some companies like Google are selling data to like consume like other companies that you know of, and like everyone just like knows Google, but like Microsoft on the other hand sells technology to other companies. Google's like starting to get into that realm, but like the customers for companies like Microsoft are like Starbucks, Costco, Walmart. Okay, like that's the customers for the companies like Microsoft. So I think Palantir does something like this. They sell like this. Sometimes we call it like middleware software. Anyway, not the point. The point is, Palantir was founded by. Are you ready? Take a seat, because this goes back a while. Peter Thiel. Now, I've talked about the PayPal Mafia a little bit before. I will put those videos in the description box. Um, the PayPal Mafia is just important to understand because, like, I think everyone always thinks that things are just happening. Oh, shit is just happening. The PayPal Mafia includes Peter Thiel, Elon Musk, and Reid Hoffman, and basically everybody except for Bill Gates, who's like a major grandpa in tech right now, is a part of the PayPal Mafia. You can go look that up yourself. Not the point. The point is Peter Thiel was one of the first founders in Facebook. Like his money is what made Facebook Facebook. Do you know what Instagram is? You know that like Facebook owns Instagram and WhatsApp platform, like quite a lot of other companies that are hoarding your data. So if it's not clear how like Peter Thiel just as one individual is contributing heavily to fucking tech and every single thing that you use, and now Elon Musk owns fucking Twitter, called it X, right? I could talk about how Facebook is now called Meta, and I study meta learning. That's a whole talk for a whole other day. And I don't have the time to do that right now. Anyway, those of you who would like to go to the future, like I said, just all you gotta do is stick around. I'll give you enough hints every day, you know. We gotta give you only the nutritional value that you can tolerate. I can't give it all to you at once. We gotta give you like little snack sized pieces. Anyway, now the point to this is something happened. I don't know when was this? December 7th. That we need to talk about. Here's what Palantir wrote. We at Palantir have committed to defending the principles that make democratic rule possible since our founding 2 decades ago. Sounds reasonable? Our software embodies our values and commitments. These include high performance, efficiency, transparency, fairness, and a rejection of narrow thinking, including fear and skepticism of the other and outright bigotry. Sounds reasonable. We believe that these values must be backed up by actions in the battlefield. What? Okay. Intellectual and otherwise, given the egregious levels of anti Semitism in our society, especially at our most elite educational institutions. Some of these organizations seem structurally incapable of taking any steps to reform themselves. Students on campuses are terrified and have been instructed by administrators to hide their Judaism. We are launching an initiative for students who, because of anti-Semitism, fear for their safety on campus and need to seek refuge outside traditional establishments of higher education. They are welcome to join Palantir, and we are setting aside 180 positions for them immediately. More details to follow shortly. Well, I will say this. I have talked to Jewish students. I literally live very near to a campus. I talk to students on campus. I've been talking to Jewish students, and I will say they have normalized that, like, anti-Semitism right now is at an all-time high. That is, like, not even questionable. Like, just if you don't see it, if you have said, like, the people who are being pro-Palestinian on campus are not, most of them, I would say like 60% of them are not just saying stop the Palestinian genocide. They have gone so far as to be like anti-Israel, and they are not coming from a humanitarian standpoint. I think there are people like me. I always say, I have to say this, like, I'm a moderate. So like, I think that the genocide from both sides is awful. Going onto campuses and telling Jewish people to go die isn't going to help Palestinian people. And I haven't actually heard any examples of any Jewish people here being like, fuck Palestine, except for that one Jewish woman in the car who said that there was a woman who had a Palestinian flag on her car, and then another woman was like, I hope you get raped in the street or something, and then she drove away. That was the only instance that I've seen of like sort of like anti-Palestinian rhetoric, but I don't even know if that was in America. I feel like that was in Canada, so I'm not sure. But I will say, like I said, I was at a talk on campus. There was a rap song playing that was like, fuck Israel. Okay, when I was on my own campus, someone had burned down or they had trashed and almost tried to burn the Jewish fraternity house, which was nuts. So anti-Semitism is actually alive and well right now. Here's the problem that I have. We have seen, like, there's been hate to a lot of groups. Like, a lot of groups have experienced hate. So Jewish students experiencing hate, it's like not the first time that they've experienced it, and they're just not the only group to outwardly experience like opposition. So they're talking about their software, and they're talking about their beliefs as a company, and they're talking about the egregious levels of anti-Semitism in our society. I don't think that there's like more anti-Semitism now. How can I say this? I think that there's a lot of rage over the Palestinian genocide, which is a real thing. I don't think we can call what happened in Israel a genocide because it was like such a small amount of people, and it like all the Jewish people are like still there right now, and they're not being like pushed out forcibly by Hamas. Like, it feels like Hamas is actually being defeated right now. And in American society, I mean, I don't know. Like, I can't, I'm not a Jewish student though, so I couldn't. And I will say the experiences of the Jewish students that I've talked to, it maybe they're saying it in such a nice way that the real fear and they have basically normalized not talking about the fact that they are Jewish, or not, promoting anything that is related to a major part of their cultural identity, which is difficult. I mean, it wouldn't be that difficult, I guess, to like walk through campus as a Jewish person. Like it would be very difficult to hide on campus, say if you were Black. So that's something that I do think is kind of difficult when we've seen extreme amounts of hate toward Black people, and we've even gotten rid of affirmative action by saying like it isn't fair to give a marginalized group any sort of leg up. And then for a tech company who continues to like promote this idea of like meritocracy, all we care about is meritocracy, to now take a really clear stance on a social issue in society seems like direct hypocrisy to me. Don't get me wrong, because I think that this is actually a positive thing, but I think it's like it's almost racist. It's a positive racist thing, because when there was an organization called Code 2040. Code 2040, the big idea here is like in the year 2040, the demographics of the country will change and the majority of people will be Black and brown. And so you should probably have some of these people in your company so that you can, it's basically this idea of like racial socialization. I've talked about this before. It's this idea of like representation matters. I don't really care to make the argument anymore. But because it just doesn't really feel like anyone cares. And I honestly feel like creating separate spaces is probably the only way to move forward. But I just think this seems like socially acceptable. And the thing is, I don't understand how. It says students on campuses are terrified and have been instructed by administrators to hide their Judaism. That's kind of against campus laws. Like nobody can like tell you to like not be Jewish, and that would be like somebody being like, don't be Black. Like you can't, that's not a thing. You could say that. I don't know what administrator would say that. That doesn't necessarily seem like it makes sense. But then it says, we're launching an initiative for students who, because of anti-Semitism, fear for their safety on campus and need to seek refuge outside of traditional establishments of higher education. So, traditional establishments of higher education are not spaces of refuge. And like, if someone feels unsafe, they should probably go home. Like home to your family would be where you go if you feel unsafe. That's another thing I think is very strange. And I feel like I've had to learn this lesson in a very difficult way. Our society isn't a safe one. It isn't a welcoming society. The hate groups are out and they're loud and they're proud. And I guess like the Jewish community, this also is just not the first time the Jewish community is like felt attacked. So I don't understand why it feels very weird to have a tech company of any of the companies, because they are like notoriously opposed to affirmative action, racial preferences of any sort of kind, despite the like racial tension that could be very real in society. They're like directly opposed to this. So I don't understand why this is a good thing now. And then they're saying it in this strange way. Listen to this part. Like, we believe these values must be backed up by actions in the battlefield. What battlefield? Intellectual and otherwise, given the egregious levels of anti-Semitism in our society, especially at our most elite educational institutions. Why are the people at the elite institutions getting more preferences over everyone else? This is the thing I don't understand. And it's another reason why I feel like it's very important to have a diversity of representation on elite campuses specifically, because it's like, it feels like over and over again, these students get more. So it's like the racism isn't new. The anti-Semitism even go listen to, I feel like Ben Shapiro has been making a video about this every fucking week. Like, oh, everything's anti-Semitic. This is anti-Semitic. Every single thing is anti-Semitic. And that's like, actually, I don't even think you should be on institutions anymore. You need to like leave the institutions, and then you can come to this like tech company where we are now going to like subsidize your being alive because you're Jewish. Like, what? I don't. I feel like if Jewish students feel unsafe, they should go home to their families. And I'm not even saying that in some way where it's like a shady way. Like, I feel like if black students feel unsafe on campus, they should also go back to, any student who feels unsafe on a campus should leave the campus. Like, you should not stay there. But I also realize, like, I don't know, a part of living in this society is like understanding that there's just a normal amount of kind of unsafeness that exists. It isn't a safe society. That's kind of the reason I continue to be like, yeah, I made this channel for black women. It's like almost just normalizing the discomfort, like normalizing the fact that like other people hate you because you're alive. Specifically, like, this is maybe a channel that explores how black men specifically hate you, but it isn't exclusive to black men. Like, there's groups of white men, groups of Latina women, like Asian women, black women have got hate from all the groups, but there's no protection program for us. Yeah, there's like no program that's like, oh, we want to give you this because, you know, it is just incredible. I wonder if you're watching this channel, and I'll also put some of the links to my other videos about affirmative action, but this is like striking enough, and it's just so against what I feel like these companies have said that they stand for. I wonder what you guys think. I'm interested.